The president of the UFC, Dana White, has been in the news way too many times for fighter pay issues. This one's a little different than all those other times. Usually, it's about Dana arguing with a fighter who's asking for too much money. In this case, it's him giving away a lot of money that's making people furious. Today, we'll look at Dana White's birthday gift to Kyle from Nelk Boys. First up, Nelk Boys' relationship with the UFC. It all started with Kyle's birthday, who's a member of the Nelk Boys. The Nelk Boys have been friends of Dana for a few years and do an incredible job of getting more eyeballs on the sport. You'll find them in the crowd at almost every event doing shoeies with the crowd. If we talk about the MMA fans, some of them like the Nelk Boys and some don't. Many people dislike their attitude and think they're casuals, and we all know that's the absolute worst title anyone in MMA can get. Many people also suspect that they are the ones responsible for leaking Colby Covington's whereabouts to Jorge Masvidal. They were actually in the same restaurant as Covington when Masvidal assaulted him, on which an ongoing case is in progress. But no matter what you think of them, they're representatives of the UFC brand, and the company treats them like royalty, which brings us to today's topic. So let's talk about the viral video and the $250,000 birthday gift. The video started surfacing all over social media. You could see all the Nelk Boys sitting down celebrating Kyle's birthday, and then we saw Dana White walking to the table with a bag in his hand, which he gave to Kyle. When the birthday boy opened his gift, he found a stack of cash, which was worth $250,000. As you'd expect, that video created a ton of backlash from the fans who thought it was unfair for the boss man to give that much money to a non-fighter when the people who sacrifice their health for the company and do all the work don't get that much. Just to put it in perspective, a fighter making their debut can make as low as $10,000 to show and $10,000 to win. Yes, we're talking about the biggest MMA organization on the face of the planet Earth, so the reaction isn't shocking at all. Up next, Dan Hardy speaks up. The outlaw Dan Hardy had been working for the UFC for over a decade, both as a fighter and an analyst. He was forced to resign a few years back due to some HR issues, but he's always been a voice that fans respect. After watching that video, Dan Hardy recommended that Dana should pay every UFC fighter that's ranked in the top 15 $250,000 on their birthdays. That sounds like a great deal, doesn't it? The problem with the UFC's fighter pay is that most of the guys and gals in the top 15 don't make that much money per fight. Daniel Cormier recently spoke about these issues. He said that his contract for the first title fight he had against John Jones was for $80,000 to show and $80,000 to win. He ended up losing the fight and had to walk away with $80,000 only. He then told the story of how Dana White sent him $1 million just because he thought DC did a good job and the numbers for that fight were great. More recently, Francis Ngannou has been in a contract dispute with the company. Those negotiations led to an interim title fight scheduled only a couple months after he won the belt against Stipe. In his big title unification bout against Cyril Gane, the heavyweight champion of the world made a total of $600,000 only. This is nowhere near what athletes of other major sports make, which is one of the reasons why the UFC gets so much heat for not paying their fighters enough. Now, for the big news, Dana White responds to the critics. White appeared on the Pat McAfee show where he was asked about the gift he gave to Kyle from the Nelk Boys. Dana said that he was glad that they'd asked him about that issue. His immediate response was that he made that money by working his entire career and he will spend it however he wants. He said that the critics should mind their own business and they can go F themselves. He then went on to explain his relationship with the Nelk Boys and all that they've done for the company. Dana told McAfee that after all their collaborations and the promotion they've done, they never asked him for anything in return. The UFC president explained that for all the things they've done for him and the company, that $250,000 gift doesn't even do any justice. Speaking about the fighter pay, White said that he doesn't just steal money that's supposed to be given to the fighters. He gave that gift from his own money, which he has every right to do. A typical Dana White rant wouldn't be complete without mentioning the MMA media, which he did by calling them scumbags. There it is, folks. It was just a birthday gift from one friend to another. Don't make anything out of it. He can do whatever he wants with his money, but he should address the huge issue of the low wages properly. There's no reason fighters in the UFC should be getting paid so little. Here's hoping it gets fixed pretty soon. Now, in other related news. First up, Charles Oliveira is willing to start the fight on the ground. The vacant lightweight title will find its rightful owner in October at Abu Dhabi, but we all know who the real champion is today. Charles Oliveira has been oozing confidence lately, and for good reason. The guy has been a world beater in his last few fights, finishing former world champions within a few rounds. His next task will be Islam Makhachev, who's a 3-1 favorite against the champ. Oliveira is the all-time leader in submissions in the UFC, and he feels confident that if the fight goes to the ground, he is more than capable of handling himself. In a press conference, he said that he's willing to start the fight on the floor since that's what Makhachev will be trying to do. Oliveira appears to have a striking advantage as he's been knocking down high-level strikers, but Makhachev is the best defensive striker in the history of UFC according to the numbers. We'd also love to know how the fight would play out once they start to grapple. All these questions would be answered on October 22nd in the main event of UFC UFC 280, so don't forget to tune in. Next up, Dana White wasn't sold on O'Malley versus Yan. One of the most shocking matchups the UFC made this year was Sugar Sean O'Malley taking on Peter Yan. O'Malley fought his first top 10 contender, Pedro Munoz, less than a month ago, and the fight ended in a no contest after an accidental eye poke. The UFC was quick to announce that O'Malley would be facing the #1 contender and former 2-time bantamweight champ Peter Yan. This is the toughest test for Sean by a mile. Many fans think it's a mismatch, and O'Malley isn't ready for that level of competition, which is exactly what Dana also thought when the matchmaker Sean Shelby came up to him with that idea. Dana said that his immediate reaction was asking Shelby if he's lost his mind. White said that Shelby ended up selling him that fight, and he was convinced by the end. O'Malley wasn't too happy when he heard that, and he thought it'd be a nice way to prove a point. With most of his fights being dominant and against relatively low-level guys, we don't know for sure just how good he is. Sugar thinks that he's better than Yan at where the fight would take place, which is striking. Yan, on the other hand, has some of the best boxing in the UFC. Can't miss this one, that's for sure. And finally, Kamaru Usman will be a part of the MCU. There will be a new Black Panther movie coming out later this year, titled Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Since the passing of Chadwick Boseman, there isn't much information about who will play the lead and what the movie will portray. Marvel decided to make one big announcement by making the welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru Usman, a part of the movie. It's a special accomplishment for a UFC athlete to be a part of a hit movie. GSP had a small role in Captain America: Winter Soldier, as well as the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Honestly, we're really happy for Kamaru. It doesn't get any bigger than the MCU. Here's hoping he's a recurring character. Fingers crossed. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Dana White's gift to the Nelk Boys? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.